Hello, welcome to another session from Teachers Tribe International Community. My name is Ranjana Manuel, and I am a PYP coordinator working in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. I'm an IBIN program leader. Today with us, we have Didem Ozturk. Welcome, Didem. Didem will be discussing planning and implementing concept-based transdisciplinary integration in an IB PYP classroom. Didem is a certified independent concept based consultant, presenter, and trainer with Dr. Lynn Erickson and Dr. Lois Lanning. She's an experienced IB PYP teacher who has been working in professional trainer, coach, and consultant. Without any further ado, over to you, Didem.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Ranjana, for introducing me. Today we're here to talk about a transdisciplinary classroom. And I would like to talk more about how a transdisciplinary classroom looks like under concept-based curriculum and instruction. And now I will share my screen, but before I start, I hope everyone is here and we can start. Nice.
Yes, you can start sharing your screen, Didem.
Yes. Here we go. All right, today we will talk about planning and implementing concept-based transdisciplinary integration in IB PYP Classroom. And first of all, before I start, I would love to know who is here, maybe your name, what grade do you teach, and what subject do you teach, and a short self-assessment that how do you feel yourself in terms of planning and implementing transdisciplinary units. You can take your time and have a look.
You can respond in the chat box.
Mm-hmm. I expect PYP teachers are here, might be from different grade levels, maybe different specific subjects.
You can start posting your responses. So we have Doha Fawal. She is teaching English for grade 9 and 10 in bilingual program and music for grade 1 to 10.
Okay, great. Welcome to our session. Awesome. I think I will carry on, and whoever joins us later on, you can always share which grade level you're teaching and where you are at feeling in terms of transdisciplinary planning and implementing. Okay. And the session's objectives are, what does transdisciplinary mean? How can teachers plan a transdisciplinary unit? And how can teachers decide what subjects to integrate to the unit? And what are the different ways to design a transdisciplinary unit and classroom? Okay. And I want you to look at this picture and just share with us, that which one you think looks like more transdisciplinary. Yes, I think it's one of the idea that school looks like the first picture on the top and the life looks like a bit messier. All right.
So
Ms.
we have
Ranjana.
some responses, Didem. There is
Yes.
Mitra, who's a visual art teacher, grade 1, 2, and 3. We have a PYP coordinator from Chile, Nicholas. And
Cool.
then, yes, so we have an art teacher, we have an English teacher, and music. Yes.
Amazing. Okay. Any idea about which picture looks like more transdisciplinary? Ms. Ranjana, you can also share with us. You are
Yes, sure.
lecturing in
For
theater.
me, I feel second picture looks more like transdisciplinary to me.
Okay. And slowly we will
Everything.
deep dive into transdisciplinary meaning. And I found this description that I really like. The concepts in this description says that transdisciplinary education that brings integration of different disciplines in a harmonious manner to construct new knowledge and uplift the learner to higher domains of abilities and sustain knowledge and skills. I think the mixture of these colors tells us a lot about transdisciplinary. And today we will look more and find the answer of what does this transdisciplinary mean. Okay. I think before I start talking about transdisciplinary, I would like to introduce different disciplinary approaches. And first one is multidisciplinary. I'm sure that we're quite familiar with this. Maybe the beginning of our teaching experience, we have experienced that. How it looks like. It includes all the subjects to create activities. It's more activity based and often focusing on one specific topic because it's also topic based. Also focusing on facts and skills. It's a two-dimensional model of disciplinary. And the next one is interdisciplinary. This is a bit different than multidisciplinary and it's more conceptual. Interdisciplinary, spanning multiple related subjects. This can be so many different subjects and focusing on multiple central ideas and generalizations, and focusing on facts, skills, and also understanding. That also something we focus on in our IB PYP classroom. There's also interdisciplinary. This is within a specific subject area, can be science, can be social studies, but only one subject, and it's deeper and intellectual synergy and the research level. This can be in upper grades, in high school level, in DP level, and universities. And let's talk about transdisciplinary. I also found this quote or just a comment about what transdisciplinary is. The transdisciplinary approach requires melting multiple disciplines in the same pot. I think as we talked before about this picture of different colors, I think today it will be time to have a new color of all the different colors because how transdisciplinary works in IB PYP classroom. And when we say transdisciplinary, it's spanning multiple related subjects and focusing on one central idea throughout the unit of inquiry, focusing on facts, skills, and understanding. It's three-dimensional. And it's collaboration between disciplines to create a cohesive curriculum. Then let's see how it looks like. We talked about colors, and I'm sorry that we have art teacher, music teacher, because today we will talk about art a lot. We already started talking about. And multidisciplinary, it's all separated colors. And interdisciplinary, where the colors start being closer, and there are some parts covering each other and making new meanings. And when it comes to transdisciplinary, it's more you can see all the colors, but so many new tones also in this disciplinary. because where we include the society, stakeholders, and worldview, so many real topics from the daily life. And differentiation between interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary concepts is mainly where transdisciplinary is related to society, connected to stakeholders, and it's really open place to involve so many other subjects and things from the world. Now, I want to give you different examples of each disciplinary area. One of them is multidisciplinary unit. As if we talk about a unit all about our amazing bodies, you can see from each subject a little activities. Can be related to art, math, science, physical education, and so on. But when we see the topic, our amazing body, it gives us more science relation. That's why multidisciplinary does not focus on a central idea. There is a big idea to focus on and go around that. This is the main difference, I think, between multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary. And another example, this is also an example of it's not integrated or it's not interdisciplinary. The topic is systems, and you can see some system-related subjects, and it's listed, but there is no connection between them. When you look at science, you see water cycle, rock cycle, it's a type of system. And then in physical education, another type of system. And in music, another type of system. Yes, it looks like it's connected, but it doesn't really represent an idea. There is a big idea of that, because systems is just a topic that is shown here. Now, if we move to an interdisciplinary unit, it starts making and giving us more connections, such as we talked about our amazing bodies. If it's literacy, we can talk about the research process and so many different reading comprehension and related reading topics about our amazing bodies. Or when it goes to physical education, related to body control, movement, and coordination. When it's about art, drawing a body, seeing the similarities and the things on the body that makes relation with art. And then math and science and health, it's all connected to our amazing bodies, where it can lead a big idea to understand. Okay, now let's move on to transdisciplinary themes in IB PYP. IB PYP provides us 6 transdisciplinary themes. I'm sure that if you're in PYP, you already know how these themes work, but let's have a look together before we move on to planning. And the PYP encourages students to learn to appreciate knowledge, conceptual understanding, skills, and personal attributes as a connected whole. And the program of inquiry, POI, is organized and framed by 6 transdisciplinary themes. And these are who we are, where we are in place and time, how we express ourselves, how we organize ourselves, how the world works, and sharing the planet. And in each transdisciplinary theme, we have a description. And in this description, there are so many concepts that we can focus on in a specific unit. Because as a whole, we'll give an example, who we are. This is an exploration of the nature of the self, of our beliefs and values, of personal, physical, mental, social, and spiritual health, of our families. When we talk about who we are, we do not take the whole description, but some parts can be one cluster, 2 or 3 concepts of this description being molded to our unit planner. That's why these concepts are one of the main parts that we design our units. It's really a big part of the planning. Okay, and the transdisciplinary themes are used to organize the curriculum, provide authentic and real-life context for students to explore and engage, collaboration to build an understanding of themselves, their wider community, and the world, allow students to reflect on the significance of their learning to take meaningful action in their community and beyond. And through this process, students become competent learners who have the cognitive, affective, and social tools to engage in lifelong learning. I think when we look at all these concepts and these transdisciplinary themes, how to use them, it sounds just amazing. And now when it comes to planning and implementing, let's see how we do that. Okay, how can we plan the transdisciplinary units? I shared 4 steps with you. It's like different thinking process of planning, draw the related elements on your model planning, and decide what subjects to integrate and schedule collaborative meetings with subject teachers. Now we can look at these steps. These are the steps that I follow. I feel that these are really useful and help me to plan a really good transdisciplinary units. But when you look at these steps, do you think anything that you would like to add or you would like to open up to talk about? Please have a look and share in the comment box. What else would you like to add or anything that you would like to talk about during this session? Okay. Ms. Ranjana? All right. I think I will move forward to sharing how we can plan a transdisciplinary unit. Okay, I think this is the planner we all know and use to plan our transdisciplinary units. It's from IB PYP official document, where you can see all the connection between different elements of IB. And we see here transdisciplinary themes, approach to learning, central idea, key concepts, related concepts, action, and learner profile. Now, as IB give teachers the flexibility of creating their own planning document, I'll be sharing with you some other examples where it can be helpful for your planning. Okay, one of them is a unit map. It looks like this, where you can add all the elements of IB in one place and start planning that. The top part, the 6 boxes of this unit map, is already given by the school. Generally, the teachers and coordinators plan what is a transdisciplinary theme and lines of inquiries, approach to learning, central idea, learner profiles, and key concepts in the POI. It's given to the teachers as a knowledge and the process of units. And once we have all these items, all these elements in our planning map, then we can start look into what are the highlighted parts in these elements. Okay, now I will give you one example, and I want us to start thinking about the integration, the integrated subjects in this unit. And the central idea I picked, and I'm so happy that we have so many art teachers here. And through art and design, people express ideas and feelings. This is the central idea. And of course, the transdisciplinary theme is how do we organize ourselves? And the highlighted part of the description is the ways in which we reflect on, extend, and enjoy our creativity. Lines of inquiry is, there are 3 lines of inquiries, that art movements and its characteristics, tools and techniques to create art, various ways to express feelings and ideas. And now you can look at the ATLs and the learner profiles and the key concepts. And I want to give you some time to think about what do you think that the integrated subjects can be for this unit. You can write on the chat box what subjects. Yeah. I think these are the two questions. What subjects do you think can be integrated for this unit? Also, how can we decide what subjects to integrate? I'll go back to the page. Yes. Miss Ranjana?
Yes,
Yes.
I am monitoring the chat box, waiting for responses. So we did get a response, and we can integrate music, we can integrate English, visual arts. Of course, the focus central idea itself is about art. So yes. We also get response that we can also integrate PE, physical education.
Great. Right. I think when we look at all these 6 items of the unit, we can start seeing what can be really integrated, what subjects are more suitable for this unit. Now, we will talk about how we decide what to include. Now, before I move on to the subjects, I highlighted some parts here to make sure that we go through some process to help us to really identify what subjects are related. And when I was reading through, I highlighted the description part of the transdisciplinary theme, and I highlighted the concepts under lines of inquiry like art movements, tools and techniques, being creative, expressing feelings and ideas. And I also highlighted the concepts in central idea. It's like art and design. And of course, ideas and feelings were already highlighted. And all the key concepts, connection, function, perspective, and all the learner profiles, risk taker and open-minded. Now, I didn't add here the ATL's subclusters, but of course, when we have them also, it can be highlighted. And when I put all the concepts related to this unit, it looks like something like that. This is, now I'm going to move on to concept-based curriculum. Yes. Here we go. This was a unit from early years 2, but this can be implemented, I think, from PYP1 to PYP4, just with little changes in central idea, adding more complex context inside that. I think this can be up to PYP4, but this is an early years 2 unit. And when I look at and highlighted all the concepts, I organize this in a concept-based curriculum and instruction method. We use unit webs in CBCI. CBCI means concept-based curriculum and instruction. And when we design an art unit, it's a process-based unit, we divide them to understanding art, responding to art, critiquing art, and producing art. All these concepts show us an understanding, responding, producing, or critiquing art. And this is kind of a mind map where you can all add all your concepts. And I added different art forms, as it was already, I think, talked on the chat box, that music, drama, dance, and visual art. Also, our art scope and sequence provide us all these clusters. And like colors, shapes, and symmetry, collage, tools, artists, and rhythm, movement, and there are so many other concepts that are related to exactly the transdisciplinary theme and lines of inquiry and central idea. Everything is going around this main part of the unit. And after highlighting all of them, I have this unit web where I see all my concepts. And then this really helps me to decide what subjects are or what subjects can be integrated to this unit. I think from here, it's not so easy to go to science. Yes, I think we can find some relation like mixing colors and all. I think it's very little. And we're trying to make a transdisciplinary unit, not really multidisciplinary. That's why those little ones can be on the side. And when
So we have
we
one more, sorry to interrupt you. We have one other response that we can use patterns in mathematics as well for connecting with this unit. Yes.
definitely. Definitely. Of course, it also depends on the grade level. What is the context of the subjects? What topics we have in maths, what topics we have in science, and so on. And yeah, when I continue looking at the concepts, we have personal emotions, feelings, thoughts, and this also applies to PSP, personal, social, physical education, and also expression and enjoyment, responding favorite art. These are all art related. And I think I see here a lot of ATL skills where when we talk about opinion, differences, personality, we need to touch the thinking skill, we need to touch learner profiles where we talk about being open-minded and so on. I think this kind of concept maps help us to really see what's going on in this unit and then decide and lead the unit's way with different subjects. Any question about the unit web? Because this is different than an IB PYP planner. This is concept-based and it might be different than what we used to do in our planning time. If there's any question, please edit the chat box and Ms. Ranjana will be telling me.
Yes, please, you can write your questions in the chat box and Didem would be responding to your questions.
Thank you. And on the right-hand side, the bottom side of the planner, now I added the transdisciplinary integration. And I said art, personal, social, physical education, language, math, and I said Arabic because I live in Oman, and that's the other language that is spoken here. And I think everyone was guessing similar subjects related to this unit. Okay, now I want to share with you some different framework to plan transdisciplinary unit. We talked about concept map, we talked about unit web, and now we will talk about this framework where you can have the unit of inquiry in the center and all the related subjects around it. And what happens if we feel that some topics, some subjects are not really related, like science? It's not really easy to integrate. What are we doing in this kind of situation? Do we really need to integrate, or what are the different ways to integrate a different subject? I think the answer is to look at the learner profile and ATL skills of the unit. If there is no topic-based integration, we can always check what are our learner profiles, ATLs, and the key concepts of the unit. And can be little integration or connection between those subjects to support the skills and the learner profile. But topic, when we look at the topic, I think if there is no relation, we can just leave those topics on the side and focus on the ones that are really integrated. Okay, and when we continue brainstorming and using the team transdisciplinary planner, we will focus on the standards, provocations, connections, and learning experiences. And you can plan your units in this template as well. Okay, this is another thinking process of planning, and this is a model for disciplinary and transdisciplinary planning. In this model, you see the skills in one circle, knowledge and understanding in another one, and the context in another one. And here we see the collaboration and the connection of these three parts of the unit. And in the middle part, we have the central idea. And then you can just list all the skills and all the topics, knowledge and understanding, and the context. And it will also give you a lot of concepts to understand what topics are related to. Okay. And this is a concept-based model of concept-based. And another example, this is different than the art, because here you can see a science unit example. This unit is about plants, and it's the integrated subjects are science, PSPE, maths, and also scientific process. It's part of the ATL skills. And this is another example can be from grade 1, 2, 3, or 4. And this is the unit title is Who We Are, the transdisciplinary theme, families, then and now. And this is also a concept-based unit example. And this is related to government, history, geography, art, math, economics, and culture. You can see here more details, not just social studies, because this is a clear social studies unit. And under social studies, you can have also different clusters like culture, government, history, economics, geography. It might sound a bit quite a lot, maybe for grade 1 and 2, but when it goes to higher level, like grade 3, 4, and 5, I think this can be used easily to provide more intellectual classroom environment and better vocabulary and better understanding of the unit with all the relation of different social studies topics. Okay. Before I move to the implementation, I want to highlight what we talked about. The key points to plan transdisciplinary units are elements of IB PYP and curriculum documents, all our scope and sequence, conceptual understandings, learning outcomes in the curriculum documents, and collaborative team, and involving stakeholders. And this is from a research that I found. And what I really like about that, the highlight of collaboration between the teachers. I think IB teachers value cooperation during the planning process. I think this is a really strong saying that how IB really focusing on the collaboration between teachers and between subjects to support students' development and making more meaningful lessons and the school environment. And this was one of the research that highlights cooperation, collaboration, and cooperation-based planning is a must in transdisciplinary learning and teaching. Now, I will start talking about how we implement transdisciplinary integration in PYP Classroom. But before I move to that, do you have any question about planning transdisciplinary lessons and units? You can add your questions to chat box if you have anything related to planning. Ms. Ranjana, do we have any question?
No, we do not have any questions. I
Oh,
did send a reminder in the chat box. If any question related to planning, they can post it.
okay. And we will also have some time at the end of the session if there are questions related to planning
I
and also implementing.
I received a reply that it's very clear. So yes.
Thank you. All right. Now, when it goes to implementation, I talked about the unit of art. It was one of the units that I really enjoyed, and I felt that it was really good transdisciplinary unit that I had. And I wanted to add some pictures from my classroom, the outcomes, and students' learning. Okay, there were this connection between the visual art and history of art, where we focus on Picasso, George Seurat, and different artists, and students had different experiences. And this plays the lines of inquiry, art movements, and its characteristic. And we had music related, so many different activities, learning engagements, where students experience the rhythm, being an audience, having an orchestra, different musical instruments, and they were all under art topic. And they used so many different tools and techniques to create art, where this was a second line of inquiry. And during this learning, they collaborate, design, and be creative and use their social skills where we have seen the ATLs. Okay. And language and drama, even though we split the subjects, but I think so many subjects are connected, especially in early years. And when they were responding the story, we are going on a bear hunt, and they decided to have a drama, and then they decorated their own visual art, decoration for the drama, and acting out. And here I can show you that there is visual art, language, and drama, and so many ATL skills related to self-management, because they decided to have a drama related to the story. And of course, language related learning engagements. And while we were having this in English, also in Arabic, they engaged the different drama learning engagements, such as they had puppet show and they created one of their own story and so on. And here I think I can show the collaboration between English and Arabic. I think throughout the unit, from the beginning and following the unit all the way to the end, I think Arabic teachers and English teachers were planning together. And it was really good to add more knowledge and skills on top of the other one. When we know what's happening in Arabic class or what happens in English class, it's really easy to collaborate and say that, okay, if they learn this in Arabic class, then we can continue with this in English, or the other way around, or together with co-teaching and collaborative lessons.
Absolutely. I can see that collaboration is the key to have a successful unit and good inquiry.
Thank you so much. And when it goes to math, and it was a question mark, is math really integrated? But when we look at shapes and symmetry and even mixing colors in a Venn diagram, it was really related. These were our topics that we wanted to focus on in math. And then when we integrate this in art, it just turned out a beautiful work. We had halving, symmetry, Venn diagrams, shapes, and using those shapes to create different artworks. And it was just really related, and it made so much sense for students. And ATL was always there, and learner profiles, where they had opportunity for interpretation, creativity, showing and expressing the open-mindedness and sharing different ideas and so on. This is one of the picture from the gallery walk where students were given the same items, but the result was different. The design was different, the colors were different, and we talked about why these are all different, even though you received the same item, but the creation was different. And 5 years old started coming up with the idea of because we are different, we are unique. And it was great to see their inquiry process and expressing this in our art lesson. I think this was one of the steps that ATL was quite explicit, and it was helping them to understand their own thoughts and expression. And this unit was all about expressing feelings and ideas. And they had, of course, different learning engagements such as photography and so many other relations within music, language, visual art, and PSVE, where they have the opportunity to listen to the music and draw how the music make them feel. At the same time, when the music plays, how their body feels and how their body wants to act. This kind of practices help them to understand art is a way of expression. And through art, we can express our feelings. And our body is one of the way to show that. And I think it was really great experience for all of us to listen to music and draw the picture and show our body moves and more. And we had also some story related engagements such as bear hunt yoga, some mental exercises, and some other creation that students come up with. Okay, and here I share the references. I think before I move to the next example, this was all about some specific references. And if you have any question about this unit or any comment about that, I would love to talk about it. Otherwise, I have another example that's more related to social studies where I will continue sharing with you. Okay. Any question or comment about the art unit?
So far, no questions.
I'll wait for a little bit of
Yes, of
more
course.
time.
But I could see a lot of engagement during these units with the pictures you have shared. It's the way students has expressed themselves. It's really amazing.
It was a big unit where it ended with an art exhibition, and we had visitors in school, their parents, and some other teachers, and they were really explaining what they've been um, doing in the classroom. They're learning a lot of knowledge. They were talking about Picasso and Kandinsky and the items they use in their artwork, and they were so proud to
Great.
really show the knowledge and the skills and everything. And it was just great to see this in 5 years old. And I
Wonderful.
was so proud of them as well.
Of course, definitely.
All
So
right.
we have no questions. I think we can move on.
Yeah. And the last example is about social studies, where I had this unit back in Turkey. That's why some parts are Turkish and English, where it was also a collaborative unit. But I will try to explain with all the images in the slides where you see Turkish language. Okay. And this unit was about how we organize ourselves. It was a social studies unit. And we focused on economic activities and their impact on humankind and the environment. And the lines of inquiries were the system of production and consumption, balancing wants and needs, and responsibilities of producers and consumers towards others and the environment. Now here, I'll share the central idea where it was humans are responsible to each other within and beyond their community. And the key concepts were connection, responsibility. Okay, I think this unit was in grade 2. And when we look at the unit, we were not sure if students are really knowledgeable about consumers, producers, and there were some concepts that we were not really sure if they even know what is that. And for this reason, we decided to start with a more deductive method, and we shared with them the central idea. And students read the central idea: humans are responsible to each other within and beyond their community. And then we shared with them the lines of inquiries where they can start thinking about what is the connection between them.
I
And
have a
then,
question, Didem. Nicholas is asking, when you can't connect to a subject, do you use standalone planner or, yeah,
okay, I think if it's a language related like grammar, or if it's in like math such as numbers, and we use standalone planners, but this is definitely not integrated. These are the parts that throughout the year we have standalone planners for that, but it's not really connected to the unit itself. I think, is it the question or is it the answer that really helps?
I
Because
think so.
standalone planner is separate, quite separate than the unit itself. But previously, when I was talking about if we cannot integrate a subject, then the integration can be with ATL skills and learner profile.
Exactly,
But when it
exactly.
comes to the standalone, it's totally different because it's not so easy to introduce numbers or a grammar throughout the unit. Of course,
And
we can have our reading, text, and all, but it will be just a standalone. And
yes,
this can apply throughout the year, not only a specific unit.
it could be more of reinforcement of a subject area and developing uh, further skills. So, yes, I believe Nicholas is able to get the answer from you. We can move on. Thank you, Didem.
All right. And here we started with a mind map where students can start really expressing and showing their knowledge about those concepts. And it turned out giving us a lot of information what they really know. And they were also introduced what a mind map is. And then we introduce the related storybooks that they were going to read, and these were all related to the unit. And in one of the book, they learned the meaning of consumer and producer. And from here, they started building up an understanding what does really consumer and producer mean. And slowly, we started diving in the unit. And I'm showing the books. Okay, they are in Turkish, but I just want to mention that language relation and the stories are really important tool in PYP. And whatever unit we have, I think stories can be always involved and support the speaking, reading, writing, and all the areas of language support. And as this was in grade 2, students were all already able to read, and it was a great tool to have in our unit. And from there, we started the first lines of inquiry. It was a system of consuming and producing. And students started organizing their own graphic designers through some videos that they watch. They watch how olive oil is produced in Turkey, and they watched the videos and decided what was first, second, and so on. And through this organizers, students started understanding that every producing has a process, and the process is a big part of production. And then we gave them different examples, and this complex topic started becoming easier for them because they have been exposed to different examples, and they started showing their own graphic designers, and it was different examples of from the local environment, like such as olive oil, and then we had something else related to nuts. It's something grown also in Turkey. And then some real life stories, like there's this lady, she stopped buying things because she was feeling everything is just in a consumption level in our century. And we shared her story, and then we invited her to school to explain how she decided this journey to stop buying things, especially clothes and some other items we use at home. And it was really interesting where students started understanding what is wants and what is needs. And then we focused on also balance throughout the unit, and there were a lot of ATL skills in here as well. And in this balance, we gave another real life story where this couple was building their house in a really low cost, and it was possible. And then they followed up all the production process, and they design how can they produce something quite cheap. Then this was related to also math, where we talked about and we had the topic of money. Some group works where they started designing their small products, and they were checking the products and talked about being more responsible to the environment and more understanding of fair trade and how much responsibility we have towards the environment and all these regular production and consumption environment. And slowly we moved on to our summative assessment. The summative assessment that we planned was a market day, but of course we didn't know how students are going to lead that. Because at the beginning, as I shared, the topic, the content of the unit was really complex for students. But the moment we saw that they really understand what does it mean, consumption and production and so on, they started giving us a lot of different ideas. And in class, we had an economical system. And then in-house, they had a discipline system. What does this really mean? In the classroom, they started earning some money through their work. We decided everyone will have a job and they need to produce something or give services and then receive some money. And it was not a real money, some coins were started collecting. And through this role play, students apply for a job in the classroom. They were going outside of the class to learn about different jobs, and they were bringing in our classroom to tell us what jobs they can do in the class. And it started being really active, and they were understanding the system of this all being consumer and producer and so on. And in our classroom for 3 weeks, we had a desk, chairs where they can start selling things, buying things, and having different jobs. And it was all in students' control, where they were having the agency of this classroom roles. And of course, it was applying to social skills, and they were reflective. And to identify different roles within a marketplace, we focused on producers, consumers, goods and services, wants and needs, and they were knowledgeable. And this is one of the place, they started showing their learning and their roles in the class. And they learned the vocabulary of good and services in English lesson and wants and needs. And through all this learning, and we had the English lesson where they design a poster for their product, because for the marketplace, they decided that they need to decide different products for different job roles. And of course, if they were having a grocery store, they needed to decide what kind of things they can have in their store or shop. And if they have an ice cream shop, then they needed to decide what is the product for the ice cream shop. And then related to math, of course, they used money and a lot of calculation was happening, problem solving. And from math scope and sequence, we had measurement, like use standard units of measurement to solve problems in real life situations. This involving length, mass, capacity, and especially money for this unit. And in social studies, and they had their groups for the marketplace, and they had business brainstorm where they decided what products they will have for their group. And we had really big market day where we invited other people to join us, and they were sellers or consumers, producers, and they were using the right concepts and vocabulary to introduce what they've been learning and what they understood throughout the unit. And this was a social studies example from grade 2. And thank you so much for listening. I think quickly I will get back to...
Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful information, Didem. I am sharing exit ticket in the chat box. So those who are interested to fill up the form, please, you can do so. The link is there. And you can see Didem's contact details, her email address, and where you can have access to her mini PD session. So yes, feel free to contact her if you have any questions. I believe, Didem, is it okay if they have any other questions, they can contact you through email?
Sure, they can always email me. And if they need a coaching sessions, they can access also through mini PD for any coaching sessions. And I'll be happily...
Here is your certificate of recognition, Didem, and we are very grateful to you for your time and explanation. I really feel it is very important for teachers and for all educators to remember while planning the units, they must keep in mind the learning outcomes, of course, standard scope and sequence, and then the most important thing is to remember that they need to collaborate so that they can have a very effective unit planner.
Definitely.
So thank you once again and have a good evening, Didem.
Thank you so much, Ranjana, and thank you so much, everyone. It was a great evening.